Hello everyone, happy new year to you. I hope you all enjoyed your festive and new year break. You are welcome to ADE 3-4 class, and today we'll be looking at stakeholders mapping and innovation in social welfare. Now, the stakeholders mapping is what I decided to introduce. Remember in our last class, that was last year, I told you that whatever you want to do in the community, you you will meet some people, you will meet different people, and all these people constitute your stakeholders. There's nothing you can do within the community that you will not encounter different stakeholders, and that is why stakeholders mapping is very important and germane to this course, especially when you are dealing with social welfare programs in the communities. Okay, let's proceed. So, what is ecosystem? You must understand that if you want to go or if you want to meet with stakeholders, they are within the community. They are in a community, and as such, an ecosystem is like a community. In the ecosystem, you find different categories of people. Find the living and non-living. That's just at the apex. You'll find the rich, the poor. You find those ones that are very influential. You find the ones that are not so influential. You find philanthropists. You find different kind of people. So, but one thing binds them together, and that is the culture. The culture, their way of life, the system, you know, binds every one of them together. And you find that within the ecosystem, which is the community. So it's very important you understand what constitutes an ecosystem or a community, so that you know how to properly diffuse the concept of stakeholders within the community. So what does this picture connote? What do you understand by this picture? As you are seeing it on the screen, you have three different hands trying to do something. What does it connote? What does it mean to you? In 1 minute, pause and reflect on it and put what it connotes to you in the comment section of this video. The time starts now. So comment on what it means to you. Okay, so I assume that you have put in your comment. This is just depicting people coming together to pull resources together to bridge a gap so that a system, an ecosystem, a community can work effectively. It therefore means that without people coming together to reason, to discuss about their issues, and pulling resources together, there won't be a community. And it takes culture, tradition, and system of belief to unite them together and be able to put their resources together. So this picture may actually mean different things to you, but in this sense, in this context, that is how I think you should look at it. A community of different categories of people coming together to pool their resources and salvage issues affecting them in the community. Okay, so stakeholders. When we talk about stakeholders, we have different categories of stakeholders. Like I said, stakeholders is anybody who can affect or who is affected by the happenings or occurrence within the community. It can be a project. The stakeholders can affect and can be affected by a project going on in the community. It can be social problems within the community. So far, the stakeholder is part and parcel of that community. It has to be affected. So, but then in this context, let's look at stakeholder as somebody who is trying to get involved in a project. They are within the community, but a project is coming on board. How do they react to the project? How do you get them to participate or to involve in the project? So in this scenario, you will discover that there are some people within the community that problem or that project, they are affected by it. They will be affected by that project. In fact, maybe virtually all of them will be affected by the project. But there are some who are interested in that project. Some may be affected, but not interested. Some may be affected and be interested. Some may be affected, be interested, and be concerned. Some may just be concerned about the project that what are these people bringing on board? Do we even ask them to come and do this for us? I give you an example. Remember, I think in one of your classes, I've mentioned a project that we carried out during my NYC days, and I told you that in that community they don't have light, and we thought the best thing or the greatest change or development that could have happened to them is when we fix light for them. The community is in total darkness except for few ones that put on generators. So we felt, wow, this is their real, this must be their real needs. But guess what? That is not their real needs. In fact, as we continue to, inquire, collect data, and interview people, there are some people that say, what is our own concern? We're trying to fix their electricity for them. There are some people that are not concerned at all. Those ones are the rich or the politicians within the community. They are not concerned. Of course, they may be affected one way or the other because they reside in the community. They may not be interested. There are some that are not even interested at all. So it is very important for you to understand that any project, any programs put forward within the community, we have different categories of stakeholders. And just have it at the back of your mind that there are stakeholders that will be affected, that will be interested, that will be concerned. If you see any stakeholder, any individual person who can tick these 3 boxes or 3 dots, then you can be rest assured that you have the maximum support of that person, because that person is affected, is interested, and is even concerned. But whoever that is just affected, not interested, not concerned, to get their full participation or commitment towards that developmental project will be very difficult. I think you agree with me on this. Will be very difficult. So it is part of analyzing stakeholders or mapping stakeholders within the community. You are, as a social worker, you are coming into the community to come and determine the social problems and the challenges facing them and provide solutions to them. You must identify these different form of stakeholders. Who are they? Are they affected? Are they interested? Are they concerned? So this is very important. Moving forward, look at these 4 quadrants. Like I said, once you are able to determine that there are some people that will be affected, that will be interested and be concerned. Also, to get their maximum of full support, you need to tick these boxes. And if you look at it, you have priority, you have involvement. The first uh, description of stakeholders before this slide is more of priority. Are they affected? Are they interested? Are they concerned? It's more of priority. Now, once they are able to tick those three dots, then it will now jump to involvement. So depending on the categories of stakeholders you find, you should know how to play around these four quadrants. Now, in terms of priority, if you just keep them informed, yes, you inform them. Are they going to be part and parcel of it? If no, then their involvement will be low. Despite the fact that you want to address their concern. But if you inform them, get them involved as required, then it will move from low involvement to high involvement. If their priority is that particular issue that you have determined and you are ready to address their concern as a social worker, then the priority will be high. And if you want to get their maximum involvement and to get the priority to be high, then you must involve them extensively, meaning that from start to finish, you must be transparent, the communication must be top notch for you to get the interest of every member of the community who happens to be stakeholders. It is left for you as a social worker to determine who are these people, what categories do they fall, and how do you address their needs, how do you approach them based on where they fall. This mapping is very, very important. So, another way you should look at it, stakeholders, when it comes to stakeholders mapping, in the event of determining how much can they be engaged, how much can they be part and parcel of that program, their interest, and how they can commit their resources to the project you are bringing on board or the solutions you are bringing to solve their problem. You must be able to even put them in different boxes here. So you must be able to determine whether they are of high interest or low interest. You must be able to determine whether they have high interest and low influence. You must be able to determine whether this category of people are of high interest to this project and they have high influence. You must be able to determine whether they are of low interest or they are of what? High influence, and they are of high influence. I give you a case study. In a particular community, take for instance, you think, or you, based on your analysis, based on the data you have collected, you think that they need football pitch. Now, when you want to set up a football pitch in that community, you will discover that there are some people that have high interest and low influence when it comes to erecting or building community pitch or football stadium. The youth of that community who are sport enthusiasts or football enthusiasts will be of high interest, but majority of them are of low influence, except for the youth leader, meeting the respective stakeholders and influencing, that kind of project. But majority of them will be of low influence because even at that, they don't have the resources in terms of building a stadium. Whereas there are some people who can be of high interest and of high influence. A sport enthusiast who is a philanthropist will be of high influence in that regard, and will be of what? High interest, because that is his hobby. And if he's a philanthropist, he will want to be part and parcel of that. And this kind of people must be regularly engaged. That's the implication. They must be regularly engaged, and you must keep them satisfied, because they have high interest in that project, in that football pitch, and they are and they have high influence because they have the money. They can easily convince the chiefs, the baale, that this is what we are bringing on board. You must be able to first identify these people, because they have high interest and high influence. So once you are able to identify these people and win them, then your way to enter the community will be smooth and sailing. But this category of people who have high interest of low influence, in which majority of them are youth, you must be able to buy them because they have high interest in that project. Although they have low influence, with their low influence, they can still convince one or two people. So you must also inform them completely and monitor them closely, that this is what is going to happen, this is how far we can go with this development. So you must have identified them. That's the implication for you as a social worker. Also, there are some people who have low interest and low influence. Maybe majority of those that are not sport enthusiasts, or pregnant women, or aging women, or aging population in that community. What's their business with football pitch? Older adults in that community, the age, majority of them have low influence. So you must also identify these people. Give them essential information, but then your contact with them will be minimal. Although you must carry them along, they must be informed, but doesn't require full contact with them. So you must identify this category of people when you want to erect a football pitch within a community. The last box, there are some people who have low interest and they have high influence. They may not be sport enthusiasts. They may just be philanthropists in that community. They may just be rich people. They may just be baale or the oba. His concern may not be football pitch. May be looking at something else entirely. But they have high influence. You must be able to spot them, monitor them regularly, and anticipate their needs so that they can influence the project positively. You see, when you do consider all these mapping and analysis that I've put forward, you will discover that your project will be 100% successful in the community. So you agree with me that stakeholders mapping analysis is very important as for a social worker who wants to do wonder in a particular community or different communities. It's not just enough for you to identify their needs through data collection, instrument, interview, whatever. Once you're able to get information about the community, you must identify the different stakeholders within the community, place them in their own different categories, and look at how you can get them involved in the project based on their different level of interest and their passion. You can pick a case study, look at another example, reflect on it. This is very important. Now, areas of innovation in social welfare. I haven't discussed stakeholders and who they are, and the analysis and mapping of stakeholders. So you come into the community and you have different areas of innovation that you want to do within the community. Maybe it could be in telehealth. Maybe you want to salvage or you want to solve health issues in that community, by virtual means, getting them involved, fine. You have identified your stakeholders, meet with them and get the project done. If not in telehealth, you can be in community microfinance. If you discover that this is what they are facing in terms of financial sustenance, financial resources, they have to pull up project, you can put up innovation in community microfinance, crowdsourcing, crowdfunding. It could be in agro-allied farming. Majority of rural communities, can be very useful for agro-allied farming. Communities or rural communities they are very rich in culture and tradition. So you can look at their nature and tourism, their cultural innovations based on their culture. You can project that. So look at the innovation you can bring into the community that will solve their problem. It can be in different categories. It can be in different forms. It could be in health, it could be in finance, it could be in farming, it could be in the tourism, it could be in different social impact programs. It could be education, it could be skills development. That program, that project must solve their particular needs, and you must what? Infuse innovation and creativity into solving that problem. That is when you will have successfully innovate and solve their problems. If you have any questions, you can put it under the comment section. I will address it. I hope you are following. So there are many more areas you can look at in terms of innovation and creativity to solving societal challenges or community challenges. But the areas that are very germane and concern the community members is their health and well-being, education, skills development, their occupation, and programs that can bring about enlightenment and mind reorientation. You can innovate in that space. Now, how do you then apply innovation process to social welfare programs? You have identified their needs, their problems. How do you now go from problems to solution? You have determined the stakeholders. You have seen the area you can innovate. How do you now apply the innovation? To apply the innovation, you must generate ideas based on the data you have gathered. At this stage, you have different opinions from different community members of different stakeholders. Based on the data you have gathered and analyzed, you will come up with different solutions. So it is very important for you to do critical thinking and brainstorming at this stage of ideation and prioritize the solution. When you do critical thinking and brainstorming within your group, you can now prioritize the solution that based on what you have been able to analyze, these are the order of priorities of the solution to their problems. It is at the ideation stage, idea generation stage, that you will do that. If you miss it at that stage, you will not get it going forward. So it is very important at the ideation stage to brainstorm, to reflect, to think based on the data at your disposal. So once you have been able to do that, you will now discover one holistic solution to the problems you have identified. That is how you can apply innovation at that stage. Then from idea generation, you move to development and prototyping. There must be a sketch, a diagram, a journey, a process as to how you want to solve that problem you have identified, as to how you want to take that your idea to a unique solution stage. So at the stage of development and prototyping, that's where you do that. And for you to do that, you must be able to come up with something innovative and creative. When you develop that form of innovation, it can be a demo, you can put it up in a demo, a video that you will show community members and say, this is what you are looking up to, and they can get excited. If it is a mechanical stuff, you develop it, present the prototype to them, let them see. So once you're able to do that, at that stage, you present it to them, they give in their input, you can even develop it with them, and they give in their input, you redefine it based on their input, based on the feedback you get, you now rework the solution, improve on the solution before you get to implementation and launching stage. If you don't develop your prototype, present it to them, get feedback from them, and you jump straight to implementation and launching, the program or the project will be a massive failure. That's the honest truth. So as a social worker, you must consider all of these things, painstakingly. So at implementation and launching, everybody must also be carried along. Implement, let everybody focus on the implementation and launching so that they can see it as their own development, they can see it as their own solution. And after implementation and launching, then you can now do documentation and evaluation based on what you have, based on the program you have executed from so period to so period. This is what you have been able to gather. This is the evaluation you have done. And from the evaluation, you have gotten feedback. At this stage, you can now do what we call constant and never-ending improvement. Based on the feedback, you can improve. You fail forward. You improve on the solution. So this is a cyclical process, the life cycle of project innovation within the community or programs within the community is a cyclical process. So from that documentation and evaluation, you will get feedback that will help you improve on the project. It is at that point that will not determine whether you are stopping the project or you are continuing the project, or you are going to revamp or overhaul the whole project. So if it is a failure at this stage of canning, or you want to revamp it, you go back to the drawing board, which is the idea generation, and rework the idea and rework the prototype. You relaunch, you implement, you document again, and you continue to improve on it. So this is very germane for you as a social worker. What are the factors influencing the innovation process? There are several factors that are influencing the innovation process. Number one you can think of is community culture. If the culture of the community does not favor your innovation, it's a failure. So you must have studied the culture and the tradition of a particular community before you bring in the solution you are bringing on board. If their culture does not support light, and you are bringing and you want to do light for them, they will not agree with you. If their culture does not support self-help principles, how do they want to take ownership to solving their own problem? So as a social worker, you have a Herculean task to get involved in the community, to convince the whole community or the stakeholders and get your project done successfully. So you must understand community culture. Community culture can either mar or make your project. but there's no community culture. If you plan and you carry out your assignment diligently, you can work around their culture. For instance, in the north, if you are in the north or in a particular core north community, and they are clamoring that it is Boko Haram, book is forbidden, and it's part and parcel of their culture. Probably before you even invent your solution to their problems, you need to do an enlightenment program for them or a mind reorientation. Then you are able to convince the people of high interest and high influence, high interest and low influence, and every member. If you are able to convince them, if you are able to reorientate them and see why it is important for them to see, to enlighten, to break out from that shackle of ignorance, and they can reason along with you. You can now move to that stage of this innovation solution you are bringing on board. So there's no community culture that you cannot work around. It depends on uh, how you attack the problem or how you approach the solution. So another factor is resources and funding. There are no resources, there are no funding, project will be a failure. But trust me, you can work around it as a social worker to pull resources together. Once people are determined that they want to change their situation for good, they will pull out resources. Crowdsourcing, crowdfunding, these are innovative ways of generating resources and funding. To source for fund, you will probably to crowdsource, to get people involved in your project, even from outside the community. You can do a kind of small demo of what you have been doing, or a kind of small story around the problem and the solution you are bringing on board. Get it across to people. Let them see what they are doing. They can support you as a social worker. So resources and funding can be a huge limitation, and you can turn the limitation around for good. Again, leadership and vision. The greatest problem we are experiencing in Nigeria today is leadership, followed by vision. If you have corrupt leaders, the vision will be zero. In fact, the vision will be corrupted. There will be no vision. Likewise in the community, in the family. So leadership should stem from the family to the community to the society to the nation. So if there's leadership problems within the community, maybe you first of all attack or solve problem of leadership before you begin solving the real problem. So leadership and vision can be another setback for achieving, innovative developmental project within the community. So on the comment section, put at least two limitations, other limitations. I've just identified these three. So you can also add two or more. So add two to the comment section of possible factors that can influence the innovation process you are trying to bring on board in the community as a social worker. So do that. Example of successful innovation processes. It is very important that as we are talking about innovation, solving problems in the community innovatively and creatively, we should also look at people that have successfully done so in the community, in the society, in the nation at large. It's not something that is insurmountable. It's not something that you cannot do. It's not something that we cannot do. It is doable. Once you make up your mind that you want to do it, you can do it, except you are not ready. So some people have done it in different areas, in different sectors. One of the sector is environmental sustainability. In the area of environmental sustainability, we have what we call waste to wealth initiatives. And a very good example is the recyclers we have in Lagos State. It's a Lagos State based company that collects and recycles plastic waste throughout a network of waste. Because you must have been seeing that all around Lagos, even within the campus, University of Lagos campus, there is waste to wealth. So these people want to ensure that the environment is clean, is sustained, is habitable for everybody without environmental pollution. Another area of innovation is green pasture. It's a social enterprise that converts organic waste into fertilizer to enhance agricultural development within the community. This innovation process, that has been successful over time, operates within a circular economic principle whereby everything goes around to ensure that the community the society is sustained. There must be a value chain to ensure that nothing is a waste, nothing is contributing to the detriment of people living in the society. So they are trying to work around the circular economic principle and collaborating, partnering with different stakeholders to address environmental challenges. Another area is cultural innovation. You can look at it from music and entertainment innovation. The likes of music and entertainment is now thriving nowadays on Netflix, on different streaming sites. People are making their money. The likes of Burna Boy, Whiskey, Davido, and many more of them, have transformed that music industry into, digital platform, using digital platform and innovative marketing strategies to transform, the music industry. They have been able to successfully leverage on social media, streaming platforms, international collaborations to build successful careers. So this is a form of cultural innovation, projecting our culture to the international communities, locally and internationally, and they are making their money. Another area is social innovation platform. Social innovation platform like CCO, probably must have heard about that. The co-creation hub. We also have a, a, a hub here in Unilag. If you have ideas, you can come there. That's some entrepreneurship and skill development center at University of Lagos, where if you have idea that can tackle social problems, you come, you develop your ideas. So these social innovation platforms support the development of tech startup that can address local challenges in the area of education, health sector, and agriculture. You have example of them. You can pinpoint them out and read more about them. So catch them young initiative. I'm just thinking aloud. You can constitute or institute a catch them young initiative in different communities. Now our communities are rooted in social vices, and according to statistics and research, majority of those perpetrators are young adults. So why can't you do a catch them young initiative, like initiative foundation, that you can begin to change the mindset of young people, source for fund, source for grant, sustain it, and you receive your accolades afterwards. What you are tackling is social innovation, social problems, and that can come under social innovation. In the area of governance, you must have heard budget. What they are after is promoting fiscal transparency. Budget used to tackle government. They want to see accountability and transparency in government budget and spending. Another NGO that works in that space is SERAP, In fact, people used to abuse Sarah that upon all the cases they have sued federal government, they have never won one. I don't know how true is that, but they have been, getting on the toes of government, getting ensuring that government know what they are doing in the area of governance. So you can set up your own. Who says you cannot? In the financial sector, we have what we call M-Pesa. It's a local financial solution that carries everybody along. This one is based in Kenya and later was adopted in Nigeria. So what is ensured is that the innovation process involves understanding the needs of rural communities lacking access to financial services. So they now develop a technology that can ensure that everybody within the community, local community, can do transaction without every reliance on the internet, leveraging existing mobile technology and building partnership with key stakeholders. The M-Pesa is a success today, and it has touched the lives of marginalized communities. Who says you cannot do your own? So these are the various examples of successful innovation processes and programs. The task before you is to think of a local solution initiative that you know and put it in the comment section with their specific solution. Identify what local innovation, what solution or what problems have they been able to tackle with their initiative. So put it in the comment section. When commenting or when putting your answer in the comment section, ensure you include your name or matric number in the comment box for record purpose. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, ensure you put it under the comment section. We'll meet, I will treat them, and we'll meet in the next class. Thank you for your time.